Let's get started. Start with listening, and then learn new words and practice them in sentences.
What do you like to do in your free time? That's a question we often ask or get asked, isn't it? It's a great way to get to know someone, to find shared interests, or simply to spark a conversation. Today, we're going to dive into the world of hobbies and interests. Why? Well, because it's not just about listing the things we love to do. It's about expressing our preferences, our reasons, and our passion for those activities. And doing it all in English adds a whole new layer of fun and challenge. We'll look at common hobbies like reading, cooking, playing sports, or listening to music. We'll explore how to ask about others' interests and how to answer when someone asks about ours. Now think about your answer to the question. What do you like to do in your free time? We'll come back to this question later. We all have activities that we enjoy, right? These are called hobbies. Hobbies are those delightful activities that we engage in purely for the love of it. They bring us joy, expand our horizons, and add a dash of spice to our daily routines. Now let's dive into the world of hobbies and explore some common ones that people have. One of the most popular hobbies is reading. Now, how would you express your love for reading? You could say, I like reading books. You can further specify the type of books you enjoy, such as, I like reading mystery novels, or I enjoy reading historical fiction. Another widespread hobby is cooking. If you love whipping up delectable dishes in your kitchen, you might say, my favorite hobby is cooking. You can also mention your favorite cuisine or dish to prepare, like, I love cooking Italian food, or my specialty is baking cookies. Sports, too, forms a major part of many people's hobbies. Whether you enjoy kicking a football around, shooting hoops, or running long distances, you can express this by saying, I enjoy playing football, or I love going for a run. And let's not forget music. This hobby could involve playing an instrument, singing, or simply listening to your favorite tunes. If this resonates with you, you might say, I love playing the guitar, or I enjoy listening to jazz music. Remember, hobbies are personal, and there's no right or wrong hobby. It's all about what brings you joy and relaxation. The important thing is to be able to express your hobbies in English, which you can easily do by using the phrases I like or my favorite hobby is. So, to wrap up this section, think about what you enjoy doing in your free time. What is your hobby? How would you describe it using the phrases we've learned today? Remember, when describing your hobby, use the phrase I like or my favorite hobby is. Now, can you describe your hobby using these phrases? Now that we know how to describe our hobbies, how about asking others about theirs? It's a simple approach that can open up a world of conversation. You see, when we ask about someone's interests, we're showing that we care about their passions and pastimes. It's a fantastic way to build connections and deepen relationships. Let's look at some practical examples. You could ask, what do you like to do in your free time? This question is broad and gives the person you're talking to the freedom to share any hobby or interest they enjoy. You might be surprised by their answer. They could be a passionate painter, an avid reader, or a weekend warrior on the football field. Another great question is, do you have any hobbies? This is a more direct approach and can prompt the person to share more about their favorite pastimes. They might tell you about their love for cooking exotic dishes, their dedication to learning a musical instrument, or their enjoyment of quiet afternoons spent gardening. Now, you might be wondering why we're focusing on asking open-ended questions. Well, open-ended questions encourage more detailed responses. Instead of a simple yes or no, the person you're talking to has the opportunity to share more about their life, their experiences, and their passions. Open-ended questions lead to richer, more engaging conversations. So, when asking about hobbies, try to avoid questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Instead, use open-ended questions like, what do you like to? Or, do you have any? These types of questions invite the other person to share more about themselves and their interests. Remember, when asking about hobbies, use open-ended questions like, what do you like to? Or, do you have any? Now think about how you would ask someone about their hobbies. These conversations can be an excellent way to learn more about the people around you, building stronger connections and understanding. So, go ahead, ask someone about their hobbies today. You might be surprised by what you discover. Sometimes we might prefer one activity over another. How can we express this in English? Well, let's dive right in. When it comes to expressing our preferences in English, we have a few handy phrases at our disposal. Perhaps the most straightforward is, I prefer to oh. For instance, if you enjoy watching films more than reading books, you could say, I prefer watching movies to reading. This phrase clearly states your preference, and the use of to indicates a comparison between two activities. But what if you want to add more flavor to your conversation? What if you want to explain why you prefer one activity over another? This is where the phrase I love because I comes into play. Let's say you have a deep affection for music, and it helps you unwind after a long day. You could express this by saying, I love listening to music because it relaxes me. Here, you're not only stating your preference, but also providing a reason, which makes your statement more engaging and personal. Do note that when you're expressing preferences, it's not always about choosing one activity over another. Sometimes it's about the degree of interest you have in an activity. For example, if you're really passionate about painting, you could say, I absolutely love painting. The word absolutely here emphasizes the intensity of your preference. Ultimately, expressing preferences is a great way to share a bit about yourself and foster deeper connections with others. It allows you to showcase your personality, your likes and your dislikes, all while keeping the conversation flowing naturally. Remember, when expressing preferences, use phrases like, I prefer, or I love because. It's all about sharing what you enjoy and why you enjoy it. So let's put this into practice. Now think about your own preferences. How would you express them in English? We've learned a lot today about how to talk about our hobbies and interests in English, haven't we? To recap, we've discovered how to describe our hobbies by saying things like, I like reading books, I enjoy playing football, or my favorite hobby is cooking. We've also learned how to inquire about others' interests by asking, what do you like to do in your free time? Or, do you have any hobbies? And let's not forget about expressing preferences. We can say, I prefer watching movies to reading, or I love listening to music because it relaxes me. So there you have it, a handful of useful phrases to help you talk about your hobbies and interests. Now it's your turn. Practice these phrases, use them in your conversations, and you'll see how quickly you'll improve. Remember, practice makes perfect. So keep talking about your hobbies and interests, and soon you'll be able to do it confidently in English. Until next time, happy learning.
Let's learn new words and practice English at level A2. Hobby. Hobby, an activity done regularly in one's free time for enjoyment. Example, my favorite hobby is painting. It helps me relax after a long day. Interest. Interest, a feeling of wanting to learn more about something or to be involved in something. Example, I have a strong interest in photography, and I often take pictures when I travel. Collect. Collect, to gather items of a particular kind, especially as a hobby. Example, I like to collect stamps from different countries as a hobby. Outdoor. Outdoor activities that take place outside in the open air. Example, my friend enjoys outdoor activities like hiking and cycling on the weekends. Reading. Reading, the action or skill of reading written or printed matter silently or aloud. Example, reading is one of my favorite hobbies. I love getting lost in a good book.